Hello everybody, welcome back to another commentary. Today, we are in Charlotte, North Carolina for the annual Cookout Back to School Monster Truck Bash. This is always one of the greatest events of every year. When you look at the independent calendar, there's a couple of shows that you circle every year as the big ones. The ones that a lot of people are going to have their eyes on throughout the monster truck world. I am one of those people, and this is one of those shows. This show was awesome last year. The over-under racing track was a spectacle, and the track is bound to be just as fun this year. The lineup is awesome. It is going to be an action-packed next hour of monster trucks. You're not going to want to miss a second of it, so buckle in, as we're about to get underway. We've got 11 trucks competing here in this event, so let's meet the driver-truck combo you will have here today. Driving airmail, we have Jordan Fisher. Behind the wheel of Bad Company, John Gordon. Driving Blockhead, Darren Basil. Driving Dirt Crew, David Olford. Driving Jurassic Attack is Tim Hall Jr. Driving Kamikaze is Cliff Turner. Driving Shaker, Ryan Disharoon. Driving the Smashosaurus is Tim Mizentis. Driving Tailgater, Tim Jones. Driving Terminal Velocity, John Zimmer Jr. And driving Uproar will be John Zimmer Sr. Great field of trucks, an even better track, and it is bound to be utter chaos. This is going to be an absolutely fantastic show, so let's not waste any time. Let's get into the action as quick as possible, which we're going to do right now. We're going to start it off with racing. Darren Basil and Blockhead's the first truck we're looking at here. I don't know what the racing track is, and I also don't know if we're in qualifying of any sorts, but it looks like Blockhead's got a bye run here regardless. So we're going to get a nice look at least what this lane is going to provide us here in racing today. Blockhead is going to be a really good competitor. He's always competitive in racing. Got the over-under on the track, so that's always a good time. Had a nice jump in there. Love having the over-under. It adds an extra element of chaos to this racing track. It was very wild last year. And it looks like that is the... Nope, it looks like that's the finish line there. So once they come around... Oh my, you go back in for another lap? Holy cow, this is a long racing track. We're going to be racing for a while today. I love it though. This is the beauty of independence. You get to really see the heart of racing, and one little mistake isn't going to cost you the race, because your opponent can be making 18 mistakes, and as long as you're only making 16 smaller ones, you're fine. But this is a really well thought out track. My question is, as Blockhead gets huge air, it's always, how do you know that the track is totally even? Like, there's no way to really, you've got to test it over and over and over again to make sure that this track is perfectly even. Alright, so that was just qualifying. We just spent how much time? Like 17 minutes watching trucks qualify? I think I might take that out of the final cut, but we'll see. I mean, you guys don't want to watch qualifying over and over again, but I watched qualifying. I'm going to leave it into the members-only video. So, for the members, you guys got to see that. If you want to see qualifying, pay the $2 to become a member of the channel and go watch that. That's all I'll tell you there. So we've got Shaker taking on Blockhead. This track is absolutely wild. This is a crazy, crazy track. And we saw a lot of drivers go through some growing pains throughout the track, and it is really hard. You're going to have no idea who's in first until they come around that final bend. And it's something I mentioned during qualifying, which is you really have no idea if it's fair for one driver or another. I mean, obviously they're both going through the whole track, so realistically it should be fine, but you never know. It's really, well, it is fair. It's just a matter of how quickly you can get through it. And it looks like Shaker's getting through it a lot quicker here, but he does have that higher jump to get through, but that's not going to stop him. Shaker looks like he's got a big lead, and he is your winner. You've got to be a little bit reserved in making assumptions who's going to win the race coming around that final turn, because that final 3-jump combo will probably end some races here today. Now we've got Smashosaurus, Tim Mizentis taking on John Zimmer Sr. and Uproar. Smashosaurus had a pretty solid qualifying pass. Uproar had some mistakes. The more drivers that have gone through that grassy area, it's cut up some of that grass and opened it up to make it a little bit easier to drive through. It was really tough for those first few drivers because it was really, really slippery going through there. So we can see one pretty much full lap in. Hard to tell who's in first. Oh! Uproar had a bit of an awkward landing. I thought he broke a wheel off. It was just the angle at which he landed. But Smashosaurus, you know, you've got to try and not feel like you have a huge lead at this point. Because if you're in John Zimmer's spot, this is the spot you want to be, and you want to feel like you're chasing him down. It's going to make you drive harder. But when you're in the lead like that, and it looks like you're in the lead, it makes you feel like you've just got it in the bag, and you don't try so hard. Well, look at this. Uproar has got a gigantic lead. I don't know whether that had anything to do with that, but mentally, even if you know you're behind in the race, when you see your competitor all the way behind you, even knowing the track's shorter for them, it's going to get in your head and make you think, all right, just play it safe and you've got it in the bag. And then the other way around, when Uproar's in the back, he's going, oh my gosh, I've got to go hard and fast here because I know I can see what he's doing. John Zimmer Jr. in Terminal Velocity takes on David Olfert in Dirt Crew right now. Ooh, the camera lost its focus. Come on now. There you go. Oh, nope, come back. There. Nope, nope. Come on. Ah, there you go. Got to get that autofocus in there. I'm a big fan of autofocusing. John Zimmer Jr. trying to pull away. He had a bit of a sloppy qualifying run for a guy who won this competition a year ago in this building. David Olfert's a little far behind here too, but based on the way this track's running, they actually are probably pretty dead even. We'll find out when they get to that final turn. John Zimmer Jr., though, seems to be pulling away here. But David Olfert's going to do his best. He goes over this jump, and then after you go over the big over-under, you just go into this final turn. But it is not going to matter for David Olfert yet. Terminal Velocity has pulled away, and as long as he stays true, and he will, he is your winner of this race, and we'll move on. So now we've got Airmail taking on Tailgater, Jordan Fisher in Airmail, and Tim Jones in Tailgater. Airmail had some major problems in qualifying. He had the slowest pass by far. He showed no energy at all on the track, and I don't know what that was about. But Tailgater was pretty smooth and quick, and we've already got Airmail having his fair share of issues, so Tailgater's just going to crawl his way through the track, make sure he doesn't make any mistakes, and push his way into the next round. Just got to hope Airmail's not in his way. It sounds like Airmail is still up here in the front. Oh, he got out of the way. That's good. So Airmail moved out of the way to let Tailgater just continue on. I guess Jordan Fisher's having some problems with that truck. I mentioned in qualifying, I have no idea what is going on with that truck, but Jordan Fisher just didn't look right. So we'll see Tailgater come around this final stretch here. He'll go over, oh, maybe he won't go over the over-under. You've got to get some speed going up to that over-under. And luckily for Tim Jones, he's running by himself because he has got to clear this over-under, and he will. Fans get a nice cheer for that. So, Tailgater going to come down the final stretch and pull away with a win here in round number 1. Looks like we're doing something different here now as Blockhead is coming out to do, I'm assuming, best trick? I don't know what's going on here, but Blockhead's out here driving, and I'm here to enjoy. Ah, he's trying to slap wheelie. That's nice. Got a nice slap wheelie out of it. Cool. Well, that looks good. Popped a tire as well. Oof. He's going to do a donut against the pop tire. That's always an interesting look. So much dust being kicked in the air by that little dry spell, or dry patch there. And that was, I'm assuming, Blockhead's best trick run. So it looks like we're doing best trick in between the rounds of racing here, which is an interesting choice. Here's David Olford and the Dirt Crew. Sets her down. Nice little stoppie for move number 1. Let's see what he does going for a bicycle for move number 2. David Olford loves doing bicycles, and that was a solid one for his second move. Here comes Smashosaurus, Tim Mazentis. We've seen a couple drivers. We've seen Darren Basil fail that slap wheelie. Now Tim Mazentis fails one as well. Is he going for the backflip in best trick? Smashosaurus, a backflip in best trick! Great! I didn't... Well, alright. Well, that doesn't make any sense, but heck, you want to win, go ahead and do that. Here's Tim Hall Jr. in Jurassic Attack. Had some transmission issues in qualifying. He's got this thing nice and balanced, though. You've got to watch out for those big tires in the middle of the way. There's a drone on the track. That's fun. Probably getting a really killer shot right now. Man, he got through the pothole there. There's a sewer drain that he just drove down into and over, and has kept this thing balanced the whole time. What a move out of Tim Hall Jr. I don't care about your silly backflip. That was great. Now he's going to try the slap wheelie. Maybe just going for a sky wheelie instead. Well, that didn't quite work out the way Tim Hall Jr. would have liked, but at least he had a good first move to lead into that. So we're continuing racing. Alright, well, this is interesting. This format doesn't make much sense to me. David Olford and Dirt Crew's facing off against Tim Jones and Tailgater. We just saw David Olford do best tricks, so that timing really doesn't make any sense of why they chose to do that, but whatever. Tim Jones looks like he's got himself a lead here. We had one perfect over-under earlier in the round, or in the first round, I should say, but we have not had that many throughout the night. Tailgater's got a pretty good lead right now, just based off of the way this track has been rolling so far, but David Olford will try and make up that ground. Tailgater's now on the shorter portion of the course. And Tailgater's had a head full of steam all night long. Tim Jones gets past that jump, unlike the first time around in racing today. It's going to be a close one. Going to be a very close one. They come around pretty tight. They're going to hit the jump at the exact same time. It is a dead heat to the finish line. Dirt Crew pulls away. David Olford seizes the day and wins the race in round number 2, our closest race of the night, and that is why they make this track for that 1 or 2 races a year. That is just super tight. And now we have an awesome pairing of father and son. In the near lane is Terminal Velocity. That is John Zimmer Jr. John Zimmer Sr. is in the far lane. He's driving Uproar. Daddy in Uproar, Sonny in Terminal Velocity. Who is going to win this battle? These two have gotten to race each other so many times, and it seems like they go back and forth. John Zimmer Sr. wins just as many as his son does. But this track is the place that Terminal Velocity was king last year. Will Uproar be able to be the king this year? We'll find out. It is tight right now. They are pretty even based on the way this track has been running, but Terminal Velocity's pulling away. We saw David Olford just win the race in the exact same situation, in the exact same spacing. Uproar is in the shorter part of the course as John Zimmer Jr. is going to try and pull away on that outer stretch. Uproar is now going to have to hook into this corner nice and tight. and try and pull away here. We've got another pretty close race. Terminal Velocity has a lead. Uproar is going to try and make up the ground, but it is pretty difficult to do that when you've put yourself behind your son. John Zimmer Jr. is really tough to beat, and his dad was not going to do it today. Terminal Velocity, in this round. So we continue on to racing. We've got John Zimmer Jr. in Terminal Velocity taking on David Olfert in Dirt Crew. This is the final round of racing. One of these two kings is going to be the king of the back-to-school bash in Charlotte, North Carolina. A title that is so prestigious, and John Zimmer Jr. currently holds the crown. Is he going to hold the crown for another year, or is he going to hand it off to Too Tall Mr. David Olfert in Dirt Crew? His first year driving this truck, and he is out here piloting it like a champ. But he is losing right now. Terminal Velocity's pulling away. Ooh, that's a bit of a mistake, but those mistakes will end up costing you. The time matters a lot, and Dirt Crew's been given an open window. Will he jump through it, or will he smack his head on the window and cost himself a chance of coming back? We'll find out. John Zimmer Jr. goes through the under. This is about the same spot we saw Uproar and Terminal Velocity in. Can Dirt Crew make up the ground? The truck's starting to overheat. These guys have been racing like crazy all day. David Olfert's going to make it a race. As they come around the final turn, Terminal Velocity's going to pull away. John Zimmer Jr. on the road to go back-to-back in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's Terminal Velocity winning racing here in the back-to-school bash. You heard it right there, folks. Adding his name to the history books, going back-to-back. There he is. Who are these random people holding the trophy? That's funny. That's a big-ass trophy. Look at that.
I promise you guys, y'all haven't seen freestyle like we do it. This track is sick. All the drivers are getting ready to go. Are you ready for some more?
All right. Well, John Zimmer Jr.
2025 Cookout Monster Truck Bash main event winner, John Zimmer Jr. Terminal Velocity.
Wow, they consider racing the main event, so that's why the big trophy. Oh, here's Kamikaze. There's Cliff Turner. So Kamikaze didn't race. He is out here to freestyle. I don't know who Cliff Turner is. I've never heard of this man in my life, but he's already driving pretty quick. Well, hello, Cliff. It's nice to meet you. Let's see how you do. And someone fill me in the comments on Cliff Turner's history, because this guy's already driving pretty aggressive. This is supposed to be Berto Trevino's truck, so I wonder why it's not. Ooh, he went up an ND filter there. I like it. Or down? I don't know. That was a... Yeah, they've got a 2-minute freestyle clock. That was some nice air. Kamikaze is having a good run so far. For a guy I've literally never heard of until today, he's putting on a heck of a show. So somebody get Cliff Turner in a truck full-time, or a more popular truck full-time. Ooh. Shift. Oh, he might have lost his transmission there. That's 2 transmissions down for Team Throttle Monster today. Oh, yeah. That transmission is gone. Not going to stop him, though. Going to push it until the very end. Well, going to try a stoppie? No? Just was pausing in front of the crowd for a little added dramatic effect. Well, he's going to try and do something with whatever's left of this. The problem is with a track like this, it's so big. The second you have a problem like this, any sort of issue is going to really impact your ability to freestyle well, because it's going to limit the amount of moves you get to make. Kamikaze's popped the hood. Cliff Turner going to finish off with whatever he decides to finish off with. Going to cross-thread that red stack. I mean, this has been a good freestyle altogether. Liking it at a Cliff Turner and Kamikaze. He's pushing it. He's certainly pushing it. I would have loved to see a full freestyle out of Cliff Turner because he was off to such a good start. But I think his time is going to end up being impacted heavily. I think he's going for the camper, though. There is a camper out there. Yeah, blasts through that camper. That is awesome. I'm sure he got some camper in the face, but it doesn't matter. It's not gonna hurt anything. That truck sounds awful after the absolute beating he put it through, but Cliff Turner, nice to meet you. Great freestyle. Here's Blockhead. Gonna go over the remains of that camper. Campers are fun until they're destroyed, and then they're pretty meaningless. We'll see what Blockhead can put out here. Let's hope his truck can hold together for a full 2 minutes. After we saw the Kamikaze truck deal with some transmission issues out there. We've gotten to see Blockhead a lot over the last 2 years now on this channel, and he always seems to impress. Darren Basil has been a solid driver and a consistent driver out here. Nice to see a guy who's been around as long as he has. I think he broke something there, though. That was weird. Might have lost his front steering abilities. No, I don't know. That had such a violent reaction to the landing, but looks like it's okay. Pulls out another slap wheelie, the only driver to be able to do one today. This is a very weird song. Not sure what it is. It's funny, you can see how this truck is driven through the mud recently because the back half of the chassis and body is just caked in the mud, but the front, not a problem. It's almost like they decided to pressure wash just 1 or 3/4 of the truck, as this side of the truck's totally clean. Not a spot on this side, but that other side, that 1/4 of the truck is totally covered in mud. That's really funny. It's almost like they missed it or ran out of water. Oh, I found out what the word for what happens when one wheel spins at a different rate than the other. It's the differential. It's an open diff or a closed diff. A closed diff means the wheels spin at the exact same time. An open diff, as Smashosaurus gets some big air. Tim Mazentis off to a good start. A closed diff means they spin together at the same speed, and an open diff means that one spins depending on how the other is. They kind of play with each other. And one plays off the other to see how fast it needs to spin. That's not a very scientific definition, but that's what it is. So Smashosaurus, a truck we don't get to really see much here on the channel. It's cool to get to watch it now freestyle. I always love seeing trucks we don't see very often. Ooh, they're playing Down with the Sickness. Fun. Can't get copyrighted though. You gotta talk over it when it's getting loud. Great song. You know, I used to hate Down with the Sickness, and then I saw it live, and well, fell in love with it. Seeing Disturbed live, for any of you who like rock or metal music, seeing Disturbed live was a pleasure. One of the best live performances you'll ever watch. Smashosaurus pulls out a slap wheelie, tailgate dragon! Nice! Well, that's why they've got those big tailgates on those trucks. So that you could just slide it across that concrete. Going for the bus stack. Nice. Love the approach. We've really had nobody get any big wow moments in freestyle, but Smashosaurus is the wow moment of the day by doing a backflip in best trick, which was hilarious. coming right in front of us. Gonna kick some dirt to the people. Look at that guy down there's getting out of the way. Don't want to get smoked with dirt. That'd have hurt, getting hit with a big clump of mud like that. Alright, I guess that's it. So here comes Tim Hall Jr. in Jurassic Attack. This truck's dealing with a bit of a hurt transmission right now, so we'll see how it handles freestyle. I mentioned it in qualifying, but for those of you who are not members, you wouldn't have seen it, but I love the fact that Tim Hall Jr. has his own Jurassic Attack, that Dalton has one, Tim has the other. Love that. I should do a Jurassic Attack video of the best designs of Jurassic Attack throughout the years. There's been a lot of them. I think I will. I'm going to rank Jurassic Attack bodies. Got to add it to my list of videos to make. Is he going for the... Is he going for the backflip?
Oh, yeah.
Tim Hall Jr. lining up for his first career backflip. And he lands it. Congratulations to Tim Hall Jr. That was the first backflip that man has ever done in his life. And it comes here in Charlotte, and he follows it up with big air. I did see that on Instagram. I forgot that happened in the show, but I saw him lining up for it and went, oh yeah, Timmy. Let's see number one. Oh no, looks like the truck finally gave out on him after all this time.
Leading a full minute on the clock.
Holy shit!
Oh, look, a big ball. Well, that was the end of the run for Tim Hall Jr. He did a backflip, so that was very cool. And that will do it. Yeah, the good ball. That always ends up on the track somehow. Always. Here's David Olford, Dirt Crew. Welcome to the track. Going for some big air. All right. I've got such a long list of videos I want to make on this channel. It is crazy. Only one video this week because, well, I worked all 3 days of the week so far and off today. That's how I got this commentary out. I also had to send out videos to people who've been doing drifting stuff for the last few days. So, busy week. That's why you only get one video for me. No live streams either. Don't know when the next live stream will be. You'll just have to wait and find out. But I'm going to try and get a couple more videos out next week. It's just the way the summer goes. As Dirt Crew goes for another bicycle. Did one in Best Trick before. He pulls out another. So we've had 2 backflips today from pretty unexpected people. I also have to imagine that Jordan Fisher doesn't freestyle an airmail because, well, I don't think that truck would have been coming out all this late in the competition, and it looked like it was pretty broken. Also, I think based on looking at the lineup, I think that there was an alternate truck. I think Bad Company and Kamikaze were alternates. Like, Bad Company was going to race, and Kamikaze was going to freestyle, which is an interesting concept. Loved that little cross thread. It was more of a crossover for Dirt Crew. A cross thread is hitting a jump from the side. That was hitting it straight on, but at an angle to another jump. It's kind of like a transfer, I guess you could call it, but it's more of a crossover. Time is winding down here for Dirt Crew. What's he going for? What's he trying? Nothing. He was trying nothing. Here comes Tim Jones, the tailgater, and this is the freestyle we all love to see. Tim Jones and the tailgater, the Dennis Anderson of Independence. I know I compared him to Tyler Menning. I think Dennis Anderson's a more fitting comparison in terms of driving style. Is that a Monster Jam sticker? He's running the same body that he rode in Monster Jam. That's funny. Oh, we don't want to let Ozzy get out there because I'll get copyrighted for that in a heartbeat. But yeah, I gotta say, I mean, obviously he's not Dennis Anderson by any means, but just the way he drives, he's got that ragged edgeness to him, the sound of the truck. I mean, he's the Dennis Anderson of independence. Not the greatest of racers, but still will be pretty competitive out there. That's what you like to see, and that's why I think it's a pretty good comparison. Jumps over the backflip. Love that. We'll see if this crazy man, Tim Jones, can get himself a wacky freestyle moment in there. He always seems to find one. I gotta say, I've watched a lot of tailgater freestyles. I've commentated over, I should say, a lot of tailgater freestyles, and he's not gotten a single crazy signature Tim Jones moment in any of them. But I see so many highlights from other random shows I've never commentated over, where he's just doing ballistic flips and tricks, and I'm like, well, why does he never do them when he knows? It's like he knows I'm going to be commentating. He goes, I'm going to hold back a little bit for Mr. Michael, who's ready for Monster Jam. I want to see wild Tim Jones. Knocked out his eye. He's trying to push through and find some flow to keep this crazy run going. I just love that little alligator. It's very funny. He might be going for a backflip. Yes, he is. Our third backflip of the night. Tailgater, short. All right, pulled it out. The open diff. It worked. Still going to try and get some more crazy moves. Tailgater never satisfied. Tim Jones always loves to just rip his truck apart. Oh, yeah, that guy flinched with the sound of that. He hit the limiter right in front of him. That had to be painful for the ears. Good freestyle out of Tailgater. Great work. Love to see it. Uproar going to do a donut in the turn. Oh, beauty. That was a quality execution. John Zimmer Sr., long-time monster truck driver, one-time gravedigger driver, actually, for those of you who didn't know that or didn't remember. Had a long list of trucks that he's driven in his career. Though off the top of my head, I know he drove Sudden Impact, AMSOIL Shock Therapy. He probably drove T-Max once, too. Nice air. Drove Gravedigger, Dragon, Monster Mutt. Been all over the place, and now, well, he's been in Uproar the last 2 years. Going for a slap wheelie. We've had a couple drivers finally figure that out after a rough beginning of the day in the slap wheelie department. I talked about it in my favorite independent trucks list, that not every truck can pull off the chassis color like this, that gray chassis. This is the same kind of color that Tailgater runs, but Uproar's looks beautiful, and a nice slick donut. I love those fast, high-paced donuts. That is something Dennis Anderson used to do. But Dennis would do it on much smaller tracks. Huge air. Uproar having one of the best runs we've seen tonight. These drivers are allotted for 2 minutes, but they can drive as long as they want. Just go out there and give the fans their money's worth, and Uproar is doing that today. Is he going to try the backflip too? Yes, sir. John Zimmer Sr. You failed that, though. Bad approach, and it did not work quite well, and he has rolled it over. Here comes Shaker, Ryan Disharu. Getting a look at the old school Shaker body on this side, and then we're going to get a nice look at the red one when he turns it around. That red Shaker, a tribute to his dad, Rick Disharoon, who drove Backdraft back in the day. Ryan has made himself into a star in his own name. The Shaker truck, formerly known as the Saigon Shaker. It's the truck that birthed the metal shop, too. You can see that flag on the back. The metal shop, a very big company that they've been able to create thanks to Ryan Disharoon and family. But none of these guys would be doing what they do if it weren't for the father, Rick, who did it back in the day. Got the ball rolling for the Disharoon family. Get that tire out of here. Nice air. So much space to just move around and do different moves, but it leads to a lot of dead time between jumps. You've got to really manufacture a good pace on a track like this. Looks like there's some sparks coming out of his transfer case down there. That's weird. Not a good sign. This truck is so uniquely built. One of the most uniquely designed monster trucks. This truck is a tank. And it's primarily done that way because, well, the biggest problem that held Ryan Disharoon back for the beginning of his career was the truck. It just kept breaking on him. They built this truck so that it would be impenetrable, and it really has been that. Oh, yeah. Flying across the track. They call him Flying Ryan for a reason, and now he's saving Private Ryan with a nice save there. Very nice run at a Shaker. Good performance. Oh, they called it Saigon Shaker. Oh, look, it's Airman. I'm surprised they've got him coming out so late in this field.
He cleared it. Oh, shit.
But he's made it back after what was a really rough racing competition. That truck could barely even muster up 4 feet of air. So we'll see if Airmail can air her out here in Charlotte.
He has no rear steer.
Thank you. See, that is why Armando's the best. Armando, Mr. Monster Truck Reels, letting us know that he has no rear steer. The other beautiful part about that is because Armando is shooting with a camera, it's going to pick up every little bit of noise that's out there. That's the great thing about cameras. Every single sound, it's a blessing and a curse. Any sound that happens is going to be amplified tenfold. That's what happens on my camera. If I clear my throat with a monster truck in front of me, you're going to hear the throat clearing. It's really funny. Well, it seems like there's a little bit more than just rear steer problems with Airmail. That is the end of his run, and that'll bring up Terminal Velocity, who should be your last freestyler today. John Zimmer Jr., the winner of the main event in Charlotte in 2025. We'll see if he can win freestyle as well. Going right over that bus. Let's bring down the hammer. Come on, he's been kind of just pitter-pattering around. I want to see some big air out of Terminal Velocity. That's what I'm talking about. He's got some brake issues already. You can see those back brakes are sparking a lot. And you know that when you're driving the truck, that when you're hitting the brakes, you can feel they're not quite working very well. I said that in racing, that this is a track that'll absolutely eat up your brakes. Huge air again. John Zimmer Jr. turning it up a couple notches now. Bringing the velocity. Nice little slap. Really comboing it over. Oh my. That got a little wicked in there. Was getting a little cattywampus up in the on that landing. Man, this truck is just a beast. And John Zimmer Jr. drives it like one. He's going to go for the backflip. Yet another driver trying it. His father failed it. Oh, my! Wicked ending to the night.
Oh, yeah.
And that is how this evening ends in Charlotte, North Carolina. absolutely wild night.
I was sitting in the back. They told me.
Oh, wow. John Zimmer Jr. won freestyle, too. How about that? A little double down for the kid. I mean, you do a big wow moment like that, even without having to land it, you're going to get yourself some points. And John Zimmer Jr. did just that. Thank you all for joining us here in Charlotte, North Carolina for the Cookout Monster Truck Bash. It's always an annual fun time whenever we get to do this show. Thank you all to those of you who suggested this show. It was a lot of fun. And we'll see you all in the next one.